CELD Practice Test 2026 California English Language Development Exam Questions and Answers ESL Guide. Question 1. Which of the following describes the early intermediate proficiency level in the CELD? Limited comprehension of basic English, good command of social language and beginning academic language, understands nearly everything said in grade level English, no understanding of English. Early intermediate students have social language and are starting to grasp academic concepts in English. Question 2. In the speaking domain, what is a common task for students to demonstrate proficiency? Writing a long essay, listening to a recording and answering multiple choice questions, looking at a series of pictures and telling a story about them, correcting grammatical errors in a text. Storytelling from pictures is a classic task to assess oral production in English learners. Question 3. What does the L1 refer to in the context of English language development? Level 1 English, the student's first or native language, the first lesson of the year, listening domain 1. L1 stands for the student's primary language, while L2 refers to the target language, English. Question 4. A student who can follow simple one-step directions is most likely at which proficiency level? Beginning, early advanced, advanced, fluent. Beginning students can usually follow basic, one-step commands and use short phrases. Question 5. Which of these is a productive language skill? Listening, reading, writing, decoding. Productive skills involve generating language, speaking and writing, while receptive skills involve taking it in, listening and reading. Question 6. In California, what is the LPAC in relation to the CELD? A new textbook, the test that replaced the CELD, an after-school program, the certification for teachers. The English Language Proficiency Assessments for California, LPAC, succeeded the CELD as the state's required assessment for L students. Question 7. What is scaffolding in an ESL classroom? Building a new school. Temporary support provided to help a student complete a task they cannot yet do alone. Punishing a student for using their L1. The curriculum used for math. Scaffolding includes tools like sentence frames, visuals, and modeling to support language learners. Question 8. A cognate is a word that is spelled the same but has a different meaning, has a similar origin and meaning in two different languages, only exists in English, is used only in slang. Cognates, like actor in English and Spanish, help students build vocabulary by linking to their L1. Question 9. Which domain assesses a student's ability to understand spoken English in a variety of contexts? Reading, writing, listening, speaking. The listening domain measures comprehension of oral language. Question 10. What is BICS according to Jim Cummins' language theory? Basic interpersonal communication skills, business international communication standards, basic instructional classroom support, building intensive content skills. BICS refers to the conversational language that L students typically acquire within 1 to 2 years. Question 11. What is CALP? Classroom Art and Language Program. Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency. California Advanced Language Practice. Creative Academic Learning Process. CALP is the academic language needed for school success, which takes 5 to 7 years to develop. Question 12. Which task is found in the reading section of the CELD/LPAC for older students? Reading a passage and identifying the main idea, naming letters of the alphabet, rhyming words, singing a song. Reading comprehension tasks involve higher-order thinking like identifying main ideas or making inferences. Question 13. What is the primary purpose of identifying long-term English learners, LTELs? To celebrate their success. To provide targeted interventions for students who haven't reached proficiency after several years. To exempt them from further testing. To place them in advanced classes. Identifying LTELs helps schools address the needs of students who are stuck at an intermediate level for 6+ years. Question 14. What does reclassification mean for an L student? Being moved to a different school. Being designated as Fluent English Proficient, RFEP. Repeating a grade. Changing their native language. Reclassification is the process where a student is no longer considered an L after meeting specific criteria. Question 15. In the writing domain, what are sentence frames? The physical border of a page. Structural support that provides a partial sentence for a student to complete. The grammatical rules of a language. A type of dictionary. Sentence frames, example, I think, because, help students structure their thoughts in writing. Question 16. Which of the following is a receptive language skill? Speaking, writing, listening, typing. Receptive skills, listening and reading, involve processing input from others. Question 17. A student uses I go to the park. This is an example of a lack of intelligence, overgeneralization of a grammar rule, an L1 interference from Spanish, a vocabulary error. Overgeneralization occurs when a student applies a regular rule, adding ed to an irregular verb. Question 18. What is TPR in ELD instruction? Total physical response, teacher professional review, textual pattern recognition, testing preparedness review. TPR uses physical movement to teach vocabulary and concepts. Question 19. The affective filter hypothesis suggests that students learn best when they are stressed, they feel safe and their anxiety is low, they are in a competitive environment, they only hear their L1. Stephen Krashen's hypothesis states that high anxiety or low motivation can block language acquisition. Question 20. Which CELD/LPAC domain would require a student to follow a read aloud instruction? Reading, speaking, listening, grammar. In listening tasks, the student must follow instructions or answer questions based on what is read aloud to them.